Welcome to Glen Elk Country School. I'm Ed Conroy, upper school humanities teacher and department chair. I've been teaching at this independent school in Ellicott City, Maryland for 10 years. We have about 300 students in the upper school, and we share our 90-acre campus with students ages 2 through 12th grade. Teaching in 2020 has definitely been different. Instead of bustling hallways and full classrooms, campus is quiet. I teach to a TV of faces from a nearly empty room. My normal lessons needed a reboot. I needed inspiration and a fresh perspective. This was the year to pursue becoming a National Geographic Educator. In a world that felt increasingly isolated, I believe that encouraging and inspiring the explorer mindset in my students was more important than ever. In ancient studies, we are constantly looking at various cultures around the world as we explore the human journey from our oldest hominid precursors through ancient cultures of thousands of years ago that established the foundations for where we are today with philosophy, religion, math, art, literature, and so much more. Traditionally, our course has taken a very regional approach to our historical perspective. Students understand the role that the ancient cultures play in contributing to our modern global society, but in many ways, it limits their other perspectives. My goal this year was to expand my students' perspectives to see the world through several lenses, while also making our awareness more global in scale, even while studying events of 4,000 years ago. I incorporated the National Geographic resource detailing the key components of civilization on the first day of the unit. Did a great job not only enumerating what it takes to be considered a civilization, but also incorporating examples from all around the world. Once the class seemed to have a good grasp of those components, it was time to jump into our first major group project with an activity to explore some of the world's earliest civilizations. I wanted my students to present cultures that were the first of their kinds in regions all over the world. Because we were expanding our approach to cover the entire globe as a class, I felt it was particularly important for students to incorporate a geological perspective and understand how the physical characteristics of the region might have impacted a civilization on a regional scale. Similarly, each group had to determine the political factors that allowed the civilization to blossom and expand. The Map It theme perfectly aligned with my project goals. Each group had to create a map that would provide a visual for where in the world the civilization began. An ideal map would be unique to the project and include pins to relate to items that the group was presenting. Some groups accomplished this generally, but others did an amazing job allowing the map to greatly enhance their presentation and the story they were communicating to their peers. The project was designed to force students to collaborate, to synthesize information from various resources and draw conclusions from ancient artifacts to flesh out their civilization story. In addition, the need to communicate the information to their classmates resulted in some wonderful multimodal teaching. Each group utilized a note sheet, images of artifacts, and maps to communicate the important information. They had to present clearly while in a digital meeting and overcome the difficulties associated with that mode of communication. In the end, students gained a better perspective of how societies developed around the globe. They understood how problems were both specific to a region while remaining universal in their presence around the world. For instance, environmental changes seem to affect each civilization, even though the specific environmental changes, from earthquakes to volcanic eruptions to shifting seasonal rains, was specific only to that civilization. Somewhat surprisingly to many of the students, they learned more about the world around them well beyond their experiences by studying events millennia before any of us existed. As an educator looking back on this activity, I am struck by the effectiveness of the maps in improving the storytelling and how little previous geological perspective students had prior to the activity. I will spend more time teaching the tool and its uses in the future, but even as it was, it enhanced the lesson, and I will continue to use the maps to help students cultivate their geological perspective in addition to the historical and political perspectives we traditionally use. I will emphasize the modern places that correspond to these ancient civilizations because many of the environmental challenges remain or are re-emerging. Glen Elk Country School prides itself on fulfilling its mission to stimulate students to embrace diversity of background, culture, and thought, while preparing to become contributing members of our global society. This National Geographic-inspired activity enhances that learning. Just as importantly, it helps me as the teacher deepen my own appreciation of expanding student perspectives and enriching my sense of the global scale of our ancient and modern worlds. Thanks for watching, and keep exploring.